Previously on building Brickmania's B-17G World War II heavy bomber, we built in bags 1 through 4 the nose, the left wing, the right wing, and most of the fuselage.
Holly and Mauricio here. Welcome to our miniature B-17 factory. We've moved the model back onto the table along with all of the parts. Holly's already done the sorting for bag number 5. This is the last one, and here's what we're going to be building according to the little card that came in the bag.
So it looks like some more of the fuselage, some propellers, and some landing gear.
So there's not too many special pieces, really. You're seeing everything here. There's a whole bunch of transparent elements, which we have right here. Little small ones, small transparent elements. And we also have 2 nice big rubber tires, of course, for the landing gear.
Yay!
Not sure what sets those have been used in before, but here they are. There is also one special piece that we'll save for the end. But other than that, let's get started. And here we are after 4 pages. We have added part of the skin of the plane over here. And on the left side, it's going to look like this. We haven't attached it yet, but we will shortly. This looks, fairly nice and sturdy, but you have to remember that on the real plane, the skin of the plane is, just some, sheet metal. It's pretty thin.
Yeah, the bullets can come right through and even, clip equipment and the pilots and the crew.
And so there it goes. It's attached on the left side. This part that was sort of loose over the bomb bay is now secured just by virtue of being between those 2 sides. The other thing we did is the flaps. So you'll see on this side we've added already the flaps for the right wing. And here's what the piece looks like before it's attached. And I'm going to attach that now. And it swivels up and down, well, but really just down. And the way flaps work, in case you don't know, is that they change the geometry of the plane, the shape of the wing, so that it provides lift at low speeds. So when the plane is landing, because it's going to be going quite slow, they lower the flaps in order to get some more lift. And remember, over here is the ailerons. These really should be going up, sort of up over the wing and down, but on the model they don't do that. So here they just go down.
It would be challenging to build it and have it look right if it did all that, but yeah. One thing I noticed about when you added the flaps, the geometry of it looks a lot more the wing shape like the model that we have, which, it's just becoming much more like a B-17, which is cool to see.
So we've done a little bit over where the ball turret is going to be, the skin of the plane on this side, and for some reason it's still open over on this side. Not sure why, but I guess we'll find out. And then we've done this very important piece, which is
beginning of the tail.
Yeah, so this is where the tail begins. You see that nice slope there. And this actually will add some nice rigidity to the fuselage. So this fits very nicely right here over that part we built a moment ago. Let me do this here. So there you go. So that actually makes the hull of the plane a lot stronger. This is attached in just a couple of places here and here. So I think the intent is that you should be able to take this on and off. But yeah, right now those guys are going to be in there for a good long while we continue the rest of the plane. And what we're going to have to do now is actually flip it over. So that's what the instructions say, and I believe we're sort of doing that flip here because this part is going to be about as high as the cockpit, so it'll be safe to flip it over, but I'm worried a little bit about the wings. We may have to prop those up somehow. So let's go ahead and flip the plane over.
So we flip this baby upside down.
And she is pretty stable in this configuration. We did put some plastic containers under the wings. They look like this in order to keep the wings from sagging this way, and so it seems to work out pretty well. And we've built 3 important features of the plane, and we're going to show those to you now. First is the bomb bay doors. So here is one of the doors. The other door has already been attached. It's here. It swivels like so, pretty basic. So I'm going to attach that other door right now. There she is, all closed up. We've also done the landing gear. At least one of them is attached. You see it here. It spins freely. And then we want to show you what it looks like when it's retracted, and let me show you that here.
So it's not exactly functional. It's got two positions, the retracted one and the out and holding it together. Both look correct.
So there it is. It goes into the engine basically like the real thing. So, but it does have to be done manually. That's unlike the rear wheel. There is no little crank or anything to move it. And so here is what the gear assembly looks like. I'm going to attach it to the other side of the plane. And the third thing we built goes right here, and that is the all-important ball turret.
Yay, it's my favorite part of the plane.
So here it is. You'll notice that it has 2 machine guns on it, and it swivels. Well, first of all, it swivels around here, like so. That's how it would move. And then also up and down. The guns here don't actually swivel like this on the real plane. They just the whole ball moves and of course turns like this. It is attached in the plane by this rod. In the real plane, there is this sort of vertical rod that attached to the ceiling of the plane. And for the ball turret gunner to get into this thing, yes, you actually climb into it. You have to turn the gun straight down. There's a little door in the back. Pop the hatch. You hop in. Close it up, and you're sort of stuck in there for a while. It is very, very cramped. So for scale, here is the Lego ball turret gunner, and this is obviously he won't fit in there in this model. He won't actually fit in there. But this is not an entirely incorrect scale. So. Yeah. To get into this thing, you basically, or while you're in it, you basically are in a fetal position where your knees are basically against your cheeks. And of course you're moving the ball around and firing. It's very loud and cramped.
They talk about how a lot of the ball turret gunners were short, like under 5'4", and I'm 5'4", and I got in there, and I got to tell you, it was challenging for me. But we've heard tell of taller ones, so I don't know how they managed it.
And you can't beat the view.
Oh, it was wonderful. When we went on our flight for our bombing run, it was sunset over sort of deserty area over Stockton, California, and the sky was changing colors, and you saw all sorts of different types of land, mostly grassland. Wonderful, and I imagine terrifying to be in that tiny space up in the sky, really doing that job back in the day, defending the plane, and that position always captured my imagination.
So to attach this, there's sort of in the top of the plane, you may remember from an earlier step, there's a Lego piece with it's a 4x2 plate with holes in it, 3 holes, and that's where this blue Technic pin goes. So it's very simple. There it is. It can spin around manually, of course, and it can swivel like so. So there it is, ball turret, and we're gonna I think we're doing the tail now, so we're gonna have to flip the plane back over. And we have flipped her back over. Now on the landing gear, that's the 2 gear under the engines and as well as the tail wheel. I noticed the tail wheel is barely enough to sort of hold it up. Remember, the tail wheel spins, and you have to keep it lined up, otherwise it tends to put sort of pressure where you don't want. So anyway, we're now going to do the tail, which goes here. And here's what it looks like on this model of the plane.
It takes up a good chunk of it, and it's a pretty big thing.
Yeah, very important part of the plane. It would not fly without that, so let's attach that. Well, we'll show you sort of in pieces here. So what I have here is the horizontal part of the tail, as well as the tiles on one side, but not the other. We haven't placed all the tiles on this side just so you can see what it looks like underneath. And also the wingtip. So let's go ahead and stick on the wingtip first. And then we also have this elevator. That's what this control surface is called. This is called an elevator. There's one on each side, of course. These would, on the real plane, tip up and down, but on this one, they just go down, sort of like the other control surfaces. The purpose of this one is to pitch the plane up and down, so, you know, up and down. Not the ailerons. The ailerons and the flaps are used for something else. They're used for turning and maintaining lift. So that will go, I'm going to try to attach it here very carefully. It fits perfectly, of course, as you would expect. Right there. And then we also have the vertical. So this has stickers on it. Yeah, this would be, in this case, it's the model of the Lego set. So it's the Brickmania 2183. On the real plane, it would be, it would identify the plane. So on the back of the tail, we have the rudder, which you can manipulate like so. And the purpose of the rudder is to yaw the plane, which is to make it like turn left and right without rolling. The ailerons will roll the plane. The rudder will turn it left and right. But usually when you want to turn the plane to keep it stable, you will use a combination of the rudder and the ailerons during flight. On the ground, you may notice planes, when they're taxiing on the ground, will also turn the rudder. That attaches on all of these spots here. And there we are, the tail of the plane. Holly is going to put the tiles on the other side, and then we're going to keep going. So we've put the plane on a turntable to make it easier to show this, and we have the propellers are attached. There are 12 blades, 3 per engine. And you'll notice that there's little yellow tips on the blades, and if I turn around to the other side, you'll see that I haven't attached it to all of them yet. Those are actually stickers. So here's what it looks like on the sticker sheet. So right here is where those little pieces are. And that is, in fact, something that's on the real plane, so that you can tell the motion of the propellers. It makes it easier to see what's going on with them.
And these little guys spin pretty well.
Let's take a look at this part of the plane now. And here we have the top of the fuselage. Back here is a window on at least one of the flights that we went on. This was actually an open window.
So it just say we did not go very high.
Yes, we started. You could stick your head out of it and take pictures. So yeah, in order for that to fit, it actually swivels like so. So let me show you what that looks like. Of course, this is the opening for the top turret. So it just goes on like this, and then this part slopes down very nicely. And this is loosely attached, so it makes it easy to take it on and off. One thing we did want to point out at this point, since we're almost done, is there was a missing piece. It was, in fact, a 1x4 plate elsewhere in the build. We really couldn't find it. We looked long and hard for it, and so we are calling that a missing piece, unfortunately. But fortunately, there is a spot where you can sort of fill it in with something else, and it's okay. So we had some like spare bits, literally 1x1 plates that we just used instead. So not a big deal, but we did want to point that out. So we're going to stick this on the top. And last on the top, we have the top turret, which looks like this.
So yeah, this swivels around, and we were in another plane that had a top turret. And let me tell you, the sun really comes down and sort of nails you when you're sitting in that position for long periods of time.
So that fits right over. Remember, this is the flight engineer. It fits right over his head and snaps on like so. And it's you can spin it around, swivel the barrels. Remember, on the real plane, these are synchronized. They go up and down together, so you could not do something like that unless it was horribly damaged. But yeah, this spins around with him in that spot. So yeah, that is the top turret. We also wanted to talk about the Insignia stickers on the side. So here's one of them. There's a matching one on the other side. Let's flip around to that. This is a little bit unusual compared to let's say official Lego sets, in that the sticker is over, it sort of goes over several levels. It's not totally flat. So here it slopes back, and there's a little discontinuity there. So, and here the sticker is actually hanging off the end. So I can just stick this right behind here, and the sticker is just sort of sticking out like that. An official Lego set, you wouldn't do that, but here, whatever, it works. You're not going to be touching a whole lot.
I think that's the only thing that about the kind of the graphic design elements on this that I don't care for. I think they could have made it smaller and just had it fit, because I don't know how we're going to have that last the years and not either get a whole bunch of dirt behind it or accidentally stick it down so it looks weird.
Speaking of stickers, there are a few extras. Besides the sassy siskin here, which is optional nose art, there is also bullet holes, which is a nice touch. We're not going to put those on just yet. We're going to let this thing fly a few combat missions before it earns those bullet holes. But we may put those on later, but we'll leave them off for now.
And here we have the completed Brickmania B-17G. Well, I love it. I think it's great. I mean, this is something that Lego, of course, would never do, because they don't do things that are sort of for war. So I think it's great. I mean, it's one of our favorite planes, and it certainly is a good rendition of it, and a complicated build, and it's our most expensive Lego set. And while I would love it if it had been cheaper, I think it was worth it for us.
There is one other important piece, which came in its own little baggie, and that is the name plaque for the bomber. And so here it is in the baggie. And we're going to take that out, actually, because there's something special about it compared to official Lego sets. This is printed.
Yes, this is definitely much better.
Yeah, so this is a printed piece.
The thing about stickers is they'll turn up on the corners and come off over time, but this is permanent.
And there's not much to hold it up. It's just this little this little swiveling piece. You just stick it on the back, and it stands it up. But that's all you really need. There is. I thought we'd also compare it to an official Lego name plaque. So here is the new UCS Millennium Falcon, which looks fine, but it is a sticker. It may peel or degrade over time. Speaking of the Millennium Falcon, we thought we would see how this compares in size to the Millennium Falcon, both the actual model and what their scale should be. You can see that the B-17 has a wider wingspan, but is I guess shorter, nose to tail. And what we're going to do here is show you what it looks like, the scale of a real B-17 and the quote real Millennium Falcon. So this is what that looks like. And as you can see, it's vaguely close. The scale is sort of correct. And that's it for our video series building the Brickmania B-17G. We've had over 10,000 views for the previous videos, and we really appreciate that, and also all of the comments that we got. If you want to see more things like this, like, subscribe, and stay tuned. Thanks for watching.